Ron on Zoom?
I don't think he's gonna be on this. He's gonna be on council.
Okay, he's not gonna be on this, okay. Well, then I would open this meeting up. Let's call to order the Johnson County Solid Waste Management meeting for January 13th, 2025 at 2 p.m. Roll call.
Kevin Walls,
Present.
Brian Baird,
Present.
Ron West, Susie Quells,
Present.
David Lexi,
Here.
John Detmars,
Here.
and Mark Myers.
Present.
We have a quorum, sir.
All right, thank you. First on the docket is election of officers. Everybody jump at once.
I move we retain Kevin Walls as president.
I second.
Okay, so who seconded
I
that?
seconded.
So are we doing each of them separate, or are we gonna do them as one motion?
We'll do them separate and then we'll do the vice president.
I hear a train whistle in the back. Railroad about ready to come right through here.
Okay, all in favor of retaining me as president? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, second thing, we
I
need
can
a,
oppose if you'd rather.
vice president.
Currently, that's Mr. Myers.
I'll nominate Mark Myers as vice president.
I'll second.
I think just as a point of order, we classify them as chairman and vice chairman.
Chair and vice.
Okay.
I'm
Perfect.
assuming those are the right
Vice chair.
positions, yes. We
got it.
classify them as chairman and vice
There you
chairman.
go. Okay, I got a first and a second.
I got it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? You're back again. Now we need secretary.
And that's currently held by Ron West.
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and a second to retain Ron, same slate as last year.
And who was that second?
Mark.
You can take any pick down through here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. All right, same slate as 24.
Thank you.
All right. Treasurer's report.
We missed the approval of minutes.
Oh, approval of minutes, I'm sorry, I skipped over one.
You're fired.
That's all right, I'm out.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
First from David, second from Mark.
I'm gonna abstain. I wasn't present.
Okay. Anybody have any, we got a motion, anybody have any discussion about them? Are we good with them? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to treasurer's report. You could have gone up there, Angela. It'd have been all right.
Okay, we are needing approval of the check register for November 16th, 2024 through December 31st of .24. The non-bond fund amount was $34,636.36. And then the checks related to the bond were $270,891.60 for a total of $305,527.96.
Anybody have any questions for her?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
First from Mr. Myers, second from Mr. Dittmers. Any discussion other than what we've had? No questions? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same.
Okay.
Passed.
The next check register, January 1st of 2025 through January 10th of 2025. There were no bond fund expenditures. The total amount was $19,467.93.
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
First from Mr. Myers, second from Mrs. Qualls. Discussion? I just wanted to, I got one question on this. Clever Dogs Media.
Yes.
Just kind of a catchy name. We've had other ones called Biblical Dogs in
I
the
think that's
past.
Jeff Owens.
It's Jeff Owens.
That's Jeff Owens.
Okay, I'm just,
Yeah.
you know that one, Brian.
I do. I do
It
know
was a
that.
little,
I have a question. What's Petro Brothers?
Lease.
That's the lease.
Our
Rent.
Lease.
Lease.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lease.
Okay, yeah.
We drink a lot of water.
I was thinking it was a service.
That's a lot of water softener.
That is,
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Yeah, thank you.
That was quick and easy. Ron wasn't here. CAC,
We have not met yet this year. We will be meeting in February. We always meet kind of off the schedule after we have these meetings in case there's anything we need to discuss or take action if you have recommended anything. So we'll be meeting in February. So far, I haven't heard that anybody's leaving, so I should have the same committee that I've had for a long time, which I'm thrilled with.
all right. And you are up, Jesse.
Okay,
Director's
well,
report.
I want to thank you again, Chairman, for helping us during the holidays with community corrections. We did have one community corrections person the entire time, and then we had one for a few days that had stopped in. We honestly, thank goodness, did not necessarily see the same rushes we had. It was just more of a steady flow. I think of that Wednesday holiday, we've been joking about that, seemed to have thrown everybody off. I think Wednesday holiday, and then we actually got snow, and so we have, of course, cardboard coming out of our ears, but we've been able to stay on top of that. That was something that we received help with through the community corrections. We had them bailing and doing some of the other just kind of miscellaneous things to keep us on task as we were taking in materials from the public. So it worked out well. We've actually asked them to help us with a few other things for these next couple of months, which they're going to do, so we're happy with that. And the good thing is that though they do actually participate in recycling at community corrections, you may or may not have known that. We pick up materials from them, so it was good for them to be educated and understand why we say there are certain things that we can't take and certain things we can take, and the purpose behind it. So that was helpful as well. And when we move, we're hoping that they'll help us with a few other things, especially outside, so it'll be a good partnership. We are working again on the Johnson County Partnership for Water Quality Contractors Workshop. It will be held on February 28th at the Franklin Parks Department from 12 to 3. The agenda is not set yet. Whenever Ty gives that to me, I'll be working on the social media for that. It's normally a good time. We see generally about 50 people, which is good. It's a mandate they have, and we also always help with their education, so that's how we involve ourselves with that process and program. So we always enjoy doing it. As there were two things, and it's so funny that we've had all of the snow, so I'm gonna skip over the recycling contract update and go to the plowing contract for the new building. We reached out to the highway department as we were thinking about things for the upcoming year and said, okay, what are the chances? What should we do? Should we be discussing a truck? And they were like, absolutely not. They're like, you can't really do it with what you have, and you should really look into a contract. And as I'm going forward with some of the things that I know we're going to have to put in place for contracts, I wanted to kind of put that out there to find out, is this just a request for, what is that word that I'm missing?
Professional services?
Yes.
Versus bidding a contract?
Yes, thank you.
These are professional services.
Right.
I'm anticipating what you're asking. I don't know, we haven't talked about it.
Yes.
It's professional service.
Okay, so I assume that this is something that we would just put out, a request for, get some different rates come in, and then we would bring it to the board to have you look over those things. Unless you want me to handle it differently. And so,
I would say get a plowing and lawn care maintenance, because you've never had to do that before, so put those both in the same contract, which are probably gonna be both the same in each.
sure,
So it'd surprise me if one didn't get it all.
okay,
Technically, Jesse, we don't have to bid it in the formal way that you all are familiar with, because it is a professional services. My past experience with this board and other boards is, but they still would like to get various quotes so
Okay.
they can compare apples to apples.
Sure.
And make a diligent determination regarding, I'm looking at Jesse there.
yeah. I know, I'm laughing, because I'm trying to follow you, and I'm looking over here, and I'm like, I'm looking at myself.
So legally, we do not have to do a formal bid and that kind of thing, but I think the boards have always wanted to have several options, so long as we quote apples to apples.
Okay, excellent, and that's what I presumed was the case, so I just wanted to start the discussion as I'm talking about these things as we're moving forward, because as you mentioned, Kevin, yes, we know we need to get something that we can transport water and do different things ourselves on a daily basis, but we certainly do not have all of the equipment to manage, 2.5 acres. And so I also know that I was speaking to the animal shelter about who they contracted with, even when I was putting my budget together as far as the pond and the different things for that as well. So I do know that there's 2 or 3 names for that. So I don't know if we try and include that and see, because some of the landscapers would have all of that all inclusive. I'm happy to do that as well. So those were just some of the things I wanted to make sure were on my docket to do as we move forward, and just wanted to discuss that. Which brings me to the recycling contract updates. So apparently, Waste Management was still under the belief that we were part of a contract that Ray's had put in place that ended in March of last year. I am trying to say this in such a way. I am under the belief that we re-signed a contract for our compactor that ended up in the cloud that I have been requesting a copy of since August of last year, that no one can seem to be able to locate. Nor will they allow the person that I have been in contact with since August of last year to respond to any of our emails. So we are in a situation now where we are paying $750 a month for our compactor, which is not an unreasonable price at all for that compactor. But under Ray's, that price basically included the possibility of 2 pulls and the processing of our materials. With Waste Management, we started receiving bills back in June, I want to say it was, that showed us delinquent for something in April, for something in June, and no one would really give us clarification of what these bills were. So we have paper trail of all of those things. We put them in a folder and basically waited, because what else were we to do? So finally, literally at the 11th hour at the end of December, they have come to the conclusion, and I have I included Lynn on this email. They have come to the conclusion that we had this contract in place, that once it ended, they agreed to the $750 for the compactor, but we are now being charged with the processing of the recycling at $120 a ton, and also the gas, depending on what that is on any given time, as we all know that fluctuates. So that is why we did write a check for the 4 different bills they had, because we certainly didn't want to be delinquent, and we had to have our bins pulled in order to make sure that process continues. So as we are moving at the end of April, and they are the owners of our compactor, I feel that if I can get the representative to come and meet with me and sit down where we can have a discussion, that should be the first course of action. If in fact they are stating that we do not have a contract in existence and we are in the process of moving, I think it would behoove us to actually put out for bid the services going forward. Because we are now looking at a situation where we're talking 3, 4, 5 years, see what actually comes back, and then move forward. Because we're either in a contract that no one can seem to give me the information for, or we're not in a contract. And so if we're not in a contract, then why not see what Republic or Rumpke will do in their pricing?
So just to clarify, Waste Management cannot come up with a contract?
They cannot.
They cannot.
If I might jump, because Jesse did clue me into it, and that's not been an unusual experience in other entities I've been involved in. When Ray's sold out, they were easy to work with. We got everything. When it comes to Waste Management, they can't produce contracts for anything. And so when Jesse reached out to me about these alleged delinquent bills, I said, we can't pay it unless somebody tells me we've got a contract. I want to see the contract. They have never been able to produce it. I seriously doubt that they can. What Jesse is reporting was one that we agreed to. You know, you sign it in the cloud. and then they're supposed to get it back, and we didn't get it. So I don't believe we're delinquent. I believe we were inappropriately, Bill, I mean, I just want to clarify for your board, we've been staying on top of it, but I would be very surprised if they could produce anything that we have. I'm talking about waste management. I mean, and there's an email string like you wouldn't believe, Jesse, give me the contract, tell me why we owe this, tell me this, you know, and they're not producing it.
When did you say, Jesse, approximately this contract is supposedly up?
It was up in March of last year. So we started receiving our processing, which we had no idea, because again, we were under the impression that we had re-signed a contract not in March of last year, not in 2024, but in September of 2023. Because I actually had Lynn read documentation, I mean, it's,
So I don't see where we're bound by any contract right now, so I don't know why we wouldn't go out for bid and entertain
That's-
other pricing.
Nobody has showed us a contract that keeps us from, so in other words, if they turn around and said you're breaching a contract, I'll defend that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Because nobody's given us a contract that says we were in violation.
Was the contract repapered when Waste Management came on board, or is it a raised contract that carried over?
the only contract they will give me is the raised contract.
So they didn't do their end, right? So it's like-
Yeah, which has been my experience.
Yeah.
And perhaps you all with your entities had the same experience. They didn't execute clean ones to start all over.
I mean, do you think it'll take an action from the board to just tell her to go ahead and proceed with getting pricing?
No, I don't think so. I think
She
she's
can
just
just go
looking
ahead
for
and
some
do it?
direction.
Yeah, I just
Right.
wanna make sure that you are okay, that this is the direction that I am going to move.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Consensus would be yes.
Agree.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Thank you.
all right. Now we have the long legal report from Ms. Lynn Gray.
Thank you.
So on
Much of
that,
it.
do we need to let them know that we are no longer using waste management? Do
Well,
we need to let,
We are though using.
Yeah.
that. So we will continue to pay until we can get a contract in place, because we have to get our bins.
Okay.
Right. So,
Okay.
so we'll use them under these
Okay,
terms,
gotcha.
but
Yeah.
I think Jesse's concern, which I shared, was if we go out and rebid it, are they gonna come say, you can't because you're under a
Because you're under
contract with us?
contract. Okay.
I find no evidence of that, nor have they produced this.
right, I was worried that we needed to
Yeah.
terminate that, but
No,
we
we
still have to
need to
use
keep
them.
it.
Okay,
Until they're, because right now they're the only game in town.
Okay.
And it'll work well, because we'll then be moving to a new facility. And that will-
And
we'll
if
have to
they-
come back.
Bid this contract and they come up with it, then we'll produce a contract
Yeah,
at
sure.
that time,
That's right. Right,
great,
they do.
thank you for the clarification.
No worries.
so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe it is a long legal report for me usually, but most of this is routine. The first thing is the Resolution 1 and Resolution 2. Resolution 1 is one that you probably sign with every other entity that you're involved in, just indicating that you aren't supervising any of your family members or relatives as defined by statute. I can assure you, since I know who we do employ, you are not under any of those, so that's why that first resolution is there. It keeps people from obviously giving jobs to their own family members and then being in a supervisory role. Number 2 is the prepayment of claims that we sign at the first meeting of every year. You'll recall, since we meet every other month, there are bills that come in that are due on a net 30 basis. And if we waited till every meeting, we would be delinquent on some of those. So this is our typical, regular and routine expenses. It authorizes us to go ahead and pay them, and then you ratify them at the next regularly scheduled meeting. We don't include anything other there in that list than the ones that we typically have every month anyway. And again, they are subject to your review at your next regularly scheduled meeting. So those would be the first two. The last two are the legal and accounting services agreements to retain my services as well as to retain Angela's services. They are at the same rate that they've been. We did raise it, I think, 2 years ago. We raised it to $160. Thank you for the grin, Chairman, or Member Qualls. I appreciate that. We raised it to $160. Angela and I are paid at the same rate. I think that's fair. Quite frankly, she is vital to what you do because she makes sure that our money is secure. So she should get it paid probably more than the attorney does for those kind of things.
By an hour?
So our accounting services, I'm sorry, our legal services were more last year, but those were taken care of through bond issuing and things of that nature. Your budget is still the same for the same amount. And then I would ask for approval of all those things at the conclusion of the report, sir. But one other thing I would want to just mention to you, because you are members of the community, Jesse has been very good about contacting me about things that might come up during just normal, everyday business kinds of things. And one of the things she contacted me about, we have a facility that people of the public come into a lot back in our back area. And so as a result, you might expect that sometimes we get some interesting folks that will come in there and drop off interesting things. And in one instance, Jesse reached out to me because there was a person who was delivering, I don't remember what it was, cardboard, recyclable.
Yeah, all their recycling.
Cardboard, and there's typically a line, or can be a line, and when this person rolled down the window, a lot of smoke came out of a type of a substance that is not legal in Indiana, although it is in other states. Now, who knows, perhaps that was a medicinal issue that they had, not enough for us to cause the police, but Jesse's concern was that other folks behind might have smelled it and wondered what our community corrections people or our own people back there in the bin were doing. And I said, just make sure and document it so that nobody, so if you hear people saying, boy, they're running a weed operation at the Johnson County Recycling Service, I can assure you we are not. And she just keeps a document file of those kind of things, because it is a bit unique to have that many people of the citizens to come into our own facility and then leave. So just so you know, I'm confident we are not doing that. If you hear a report as such. That's all my report, sir.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Lynn? About any operations that solid waste might be utilizing over there?
We might make a little more money than we typically do.
That's what I was gonna-
I was gonna make the joke.
So when it becomes legal, are we gonna do this?
Well, I think you keep
It's a
all your
softball,
options
it's a softball pitch.
open. We will have a facility that accommodates it, because we have land, so.
All right. Old business.
Do you have a motions and approval of all, because two of them are resolutions?
Oh, yeah. Have a motion to approve any of this?
Move to approve resolution 2025-01, resolution number 2025-02, and legal and accounting services agreements for 2025.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a first from Mr. Dittmer, a second from Mrs. Qualls. Any discussion that we haven't had already about operations? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. We are good. And no pun intended, but old business, Mr. Wes Harrison,
I could take that two ways, maybe.
going to give us an update on the building and progress of the new recycling center.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. All is well. The foundations are complete. And if you've been by, the steel frame is up. They now have the material to do the roof and sidewall enclosures, and they expected by mid-February the building to be totally enclosed, which then allows us to work on the inside. And they have continued to commit to the late April deadline, which we appreciate. They know they don't have any other choice but to be complete at the end of April. So they're pushing hard towards that. Weather's been a bit of a challenge, but quite honestly, with the ground frozen, it allows them to work a little bit better and navigate the site better. So just for your awareness, our neighbors have been great. The one Wolf Park or whatever it's called next door.
Under one roof.
Under one roof, yeah. We did bump their mailbox and bent it over, and the guys propped it back up again, and I talked to the owner over there, and I said, it's going to continue to get hit, so we'll replace it when you're done. But I didn't want to replace it every time it got hit, because we'd be buying a lot of mailboxes. And then there was an incident last week where one of their customers was complaining about a blockage into the entranceway there. And it was just more of a timing thing, and she kind of got into it with one of the subcontractors over there. We've identified who it was, and we've made peace with all that. So I just wanted, if you hear of any of that, unfortunately it happened, and I tried to make sure it won't happen again, but can't guarantee that it won't, but we've gone to pretty good measures to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So, any questions from anyone? One of these days we'll have a tour over there, but not right now.
Easy crowd.
That's right, yeah, thank you.
And you
All right,
did,
thanks, Wes.
you did a meeting or so ago, ask me to notify our current landlord that we would be, and that was done, well received, so they've been placed on notice.
Petro Brothers LLC, right?
That's correct, that's exactly right. And I sent the letter and
Came around twice
we'd
today.
be out. And we also accommodate them in the event we needed to, if they need somebody else to come through our facility, we make it available to them to show, so.
I have a couple of general questions, maybe for Jesse. The move is going to be in April, May, in that timeframe. What's that look like for staffing, for hours, for what this, it's going to be a little bit of a different situation from a community perspective, right? So hours-wise and that sort of thing, is it going to be more accessible than the kind of the limited hours we have now, which I believe they are, or are they?
We're not limited. We're open, Monday through Friday and the second and fourth Saturdays. Tuesday through Friday and the second and fourth Saturday.
Okay.
So,
What's going to be the staffing then? So hours won't change?
no, the only thing that we could possibly do would be, we're hoping to possibly extend Thursday to a full day, but in all honesty, the bulk of the traffic is 10 to 2, which is why when we reopened on a Thursday, because we had been closed on Thursdays, we only opened on Thursdays in summer when we had the extra help. We have been able to keep it open Thursdays 10 to 2, but just like anything else, I mean, it requires employees and finances to open more, but I'm not too sure. I mean,
Yeah, is the demand, I guess the other question is the demand there for it to be open more than it is now?
I don't know how other than a full day on Thursday, I'm not too sure how we could open any more than we would be.
Well, full day, full week is what I'm getting at, I guess. Is that
Well,
official?
I cannot see us ever being open on a Monday. Monday is the slowest day in recycling. We've tracked this for 30 years from all of our time frame, but it's also the only way to get all of our materials out without the public being there.
So is it open Monday now? It's not?
No, we have never opened on a Monday.
So it's closed on Monday and limited hours on Thursday?
Yeah, but otherwise we're Tuesday, as a matter of fact, we're even open late on Wednesdays. We stay open till 6 on Wednesdays, so.
Okay.
Yeah, has anybody said
Talking
we
more
have
than
Monday?
John, you
Not
talking-
sure. It just, it's a day and a half, basically, that it's not open. It's a brand-new facility that I think is a showcase deal for something that's pretty important. How do we maybe utilize that?
Well,
Are
also,
you guys
see,
talking about the same thing?
I don't know,
You're
are we?
talking- Yeah, I'm wondering, when you say open versus public service,
we're there on Mondays, if that's what,
the facilities.
Steven, we're doing compacting, baling, and then, of course, Carla and I work regular Monday through Friday, but if you're talking about the public access, again, Mondays we have to use for being able to move our material. Like, we have the food pantry, they bring us 3 gaylords of cardboard every Monday.
We're talking about the same thing. We're talking about public access to that, to deliver what they want.
Yeah, so as far as the public goes, that's why we're open on Saturdays. Most government agencies aren't open on Saturdays. We try and open Wednesday evenings. The problem is that the reality is the bulk of the public uses us from 10 to 2. That's just, if you look at our, numbers now. And we were gonna talk about this in March, but I can tell you now, just because we have it. We've actually increased over 35% again this year, in comparison to the year prior. So where we, on some days we might have only seen 60 people, we're seeing upwards of 140 people, 160 people. That is a lot of people to go through our facility, even as we move. That is a lot of moving parts. And on top of that, when we move, we're going to have the household hazardous waste there. So we're already going to see people that maybe don't use us for recycling that are going to be utilizing us on top of those that use us for recycling. Plus, we're hoping to implement the compost program. So, we're hoping to grow our programs, but I can't see necessarily how to grow ours other than that Thursday. Again, we are hoping to open that Thursday a full day for people. But already, our Tox Box is only, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 9 and 3. Now our Tox Box will be all the time that we're open. The cost of that alone, our Tox Box disposal last year, and again, I bring this up quite a bit, but for the limited amount of people that we see out there, I mean, it was over $35,000, and that's because we manage it. I mean, Tom makes a point of combining containers so that we don't have to have people out there. I mean, the cost of that program is huge, and I mean, that's 850 people. I mean, we're going to see double, 3 times that when you bring that into a facility and people have more of an awareness. So, you know, again, it will come down to finances, for sure. But as far as, you know, it is our hope that Thursday could be certainly a full-time day, but that's also the day that we go and pick up cardboard from the businesses and do all that. So, you know, if I'm putting that same person in the back, then who is going to go pick up the cardboard from the businesses? And that is a huge program for us right now. I mean, the amount of people we have on that is a lot, which is why we continue to go back to talking about hopefully getting a different type of box truck so that we can support that program even more.
Okay, I think Mr. Dittmer's just saying we've got a great opportunity here with the brand-new building to maybe expand some of the services, have the opportunity.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I definitely want to expand our services. It's just a matter of, like I said, I mean, I don't know how many more hours that looks like.
Well,
So-
that then goes toward, and not today necessarily, and not obviously not today literally, but the long-range plan, 3-5-year plan on what that looks like to utilize kind of what I understand is going to be kind of a state-of-the-art deal for the work you do. What does that look like? And I presume there's something in place to set a game plan up for what those services look like going forward.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is our hope as soon as we open that, you know, we will hopefully be able to incorporate that commercial composting piece that no one has in this area, but Shelby County was able to because we have Caldwell's that's now doing that. So, you know, there are several programs, but again, it requires, like, we are literally, what we take in, and actually I was going to go over this with Angela, but since we're discussing it, if you look at, you know, it shows right now that we had 31,000 more, you know, than we took in. We spent $31,000 less, but really the math is we actually spent 25,000 more because 54 of that thousand, it goes back to the county and the disaster recovery plan, which by the way, we did not get any more of this year. So we, for the first time ever, and that was also because of our build, spent more money than we took in. So as we talk about growing, again, we don't bring in that much money from tax dollars at all. So the only way to grow would be able to, you know, facilitate, whether it be cardboard or something, but the amount of cardboard we would need to truly be able to facilitate that. We got $9,000 last year because it's all a commodities market. I mean, but that was, and I can tell you in March how many tons that actually was that equaled 9,000. But that's the thing, is the amount of work it creates to come up with $9,000 is a lot of manpower. So,
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
Anyone else got any questions? All right, next meeting is March 10th at 2 o'clock, same place, same time. Need one more motion today and,
Sir,
Then we'll have our
don't forget we have
finance meeting.
our finance board immediately find this for Councilwoman Qualls. I don't believe you were here last year. We had to adjourn our regularly scheduled meeting, and the first meeting of the year, statute requires us to have a finance board meeting, which generally is for Angela to tell us where our bank accounts are and who manages them. So it won't take very long, but we have to do it for statute.
have a motion for adjournment from our regular meeting.
So moved.
We'll take it from Mr. Dittmers or Mr. Myers, however you want to do it. All in favor? Aye. All right. Now I'd like to open the meeting for the Board of Finance for Solid Waste District.
Are you calling that,
234
All right.
on January 13th, 2025.
Roll call would be Kevin Walls,
Present.
Brian Baird,
Here.
Ron West, Susie Qualls,
Here?
David Lexi,
Here.
John Ditmars,
Here.
Mark Myers.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Angela, I think you've got the show today.
We need to elect officers, sir, and it's been our tradition to generally elect the same officer slate as we did the other, but you are certainly free to do what you choose. We have
I'll
to elect.
nominate the same slate.
Have a motion?
Second,
Well,
Susie got it.
sorry. John, you want it?
David and Susie have it.
Jump ball.
All in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed, same. All right, you got a board in place.
Thank you.
Well, the money is held at First Merchants, and to my knowledge, we don't have anyone on the board of First Merchants anymore, so
That's a good thing.
that is a good thing.
Well, it was a
Maybe.
good thing. Pat was a good board member.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, but, and essentially, you don't, as controller of this, you do not see any conflicts of interest existing.
No.
I feel like there's a recommendation in there someplace, what you just said. Am I right?
But it does, I mean, in larger districts and larger financings, when you have more bank accounts and things of that nature, there's usually more delving into what we have. But ours is pretty straightforward, would you?
Very, yes.
And monitored pretty strictly.
Okay.
I'd entertain a motion to keep it there,
I'll make a motion.
or
to
need a
keep-
motion? I don't.
I don't know that we need a motion to do it.
To keep finances at First Merchants, I would say we'd probably need a motion to do
I'll make a
that.
motion to keep our finances at First Merchants Bank.
Second.
Got a first from Susie, second from Mark. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Stays as was.
If it ain't broke.
Motion to
adjourn.
Got a motion on the floor to adjourn. And a second from John, we are adjourned. We don't even need to vote on that.
Thanks, everyone.